Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, and listen as we have a conversation about the mundane. One thing that we can promise is that our conversation will be less than fascinating so that you can just drift off. Thank you for joining us. We hope you will listen and sleep. I'm your host, Marco Timpano.
And I am your co-host, Nidhi Khanna, who has finally made an appearance on the last episode of
Nidhi,
the season.
I don't care. It's just great to have you in the studio.
It's great to be here.
We've had a lot of listeners ask, "Where's Nidhi? Where's
I know.
Nidhi?" And I've responded, "She's very busy. You've been busy, and rightly so."
It's been a busy time, and so I haven't been able to be as present as I hope to be for this season. But it feels very good to be back
It's
here.
great to have you back. You went last we spoke.
Yes.
You were off to Greece.
Yes.
Tell us about your trip to Greece and Crete, if I'm not mistaken. Oh.
Well, yeah. So went to Crete, Milos, and Paros. So it's like 3 islands. It was amazing. Like, everyone will say that the food in Greece is phenomenal, and it is because it's so fresh.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those places where you can get your €3 wine, which is always really nice. But yeah, Crete was really beautiful and big, but it was also very chaotic in a way.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, we were in one of the main cities called Chania, or Hania, I guess. And it was really amazing, but in order to get anywhere, you just had to drive for a really long time. And some of the roads are a little bit
rustic?
precarious.
Okay.
Yeah, a little rustic. So it was an adventure for sure.
It's a big island too, right?
It is a big island.
Yeah.
It's the biggest island. And it's like its own little country in a way, actually. Sure. But the people were great, and we had a beautiful Airbnb, and there were some beautiful beaches, and it was just really nice to relax. And, I think in Greece they know how to do beach culture by style. You rent a beach chair and you kind of hunker down for the day, and that was really, really nice. And then we took the ferry to Milos, which was, when I thought of Greek ferries, Marco, I always just I don't know. I guess I don't know what picture came to mind. What picture comes to mind when you think Greek ferry?
Okay, I've been on Greek ferries,
okay,
so I know. But prior to having been on it, I would think, Jacqueline Onassis, Aristotle Onassis.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Greek shipping magnates.
Yes.
Right? Greece is surrounded by water, oceans, the Mediterranean.
Yes.
So navigation, a lot of great sailors are Greek.
Yes.
So all those things would be in the background of me, like, I'm going to go on a Greek ferry, right? And just being in this beautiful location that it's its own unique blend of European and its own ancient culture. You think that's going to be what you're going to experience?
It's going to be an experience that has kind of like this romantic feel to 100%. It. And so
Tell me your experience.
We get to the port in Crete. And we spent the most amount of time in Crete. We spent about 6 days. And by the end of the 6th day, we were like, we need to get off this island and get to the next one, because it was hard. It was a lot of activity in order to navigate kind of Crete. And we really just wanted to sit on beaches all day.
Sure.
So we get to the port and get ready to get on the ferry. And it's this huge cruise ship.
Yeah.
It is huge. It was called Festos Palace, I think.
Okay.
And you walk in there and you think you're in a Carnival cruise. Like, there are gift shops. There's like 5 restaurants. There's, rooms to stay overnight. It's a full-on cruise ship.
It's as if they took a cruise ship that's no longer sailing to
100%.
the Caribbean, and they said, okay, now you're going to be a ferry in Greece.
And it was huge. And there's all these people. It's like, I didn't realize how many people were going from Crete to all the other islands in Greece. Anyways, we ended up in Milos, which is a beautiful island that has only recently, I think in the last 10 years, started to become more popular.
Sure.
And so the infrastructure is still kind of the Greece that people who may have gone in the 80s and 90s would know it as, but it's becoming wildly popular.
Okay.
And so they're struggling or trying to keep up with the demand of the island. It was beautiful. Lots of really smaller beaches. We had an adventure with the car company. Our car broke down. They tried to – yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting being two women traveling in Greece.
Okay.
But this was especially one of those moments. Like the car died 20 minutes after we started to use it.
Oh, wow.
And they blamed us for it. They didn't want to come and like the problem was us and not this car that we just rented.
And so they were going to leave you stranded?
Or we had to pay like 30 or 40 euros for them to come.
Oh, I see.
And it was like, no. That's not how this is happening. And then slowly throughout the our 4 days there, the car just kept having these problems when it was shifting gears. It was shifting gears very oddly.
Right.
And so on the last day, as we're going to drop the car off before taking the ferry to Paros, we're up a hill and it's an automatic car. The gear just shifted automatically from drive into neutral as I'm going up a hill. And so, my friend who I was traveling with, she was like, oh my gosh, we got to get off this hill. And I was like, I'm not stopping this car. If we stop this car, we're not starting it again. It's just not going to. And so you know how sometimes you're in those situations and you're like, okay, instinct's going to take over here.
Right.
And so I just put the brakes on and then shifted the gear manually and it went back into drive. And I was like, we're just getting this to where it needs to go.
Right.
There had been a series of other things that I won't get into as to why I wanted to just get rid of this crazy car. But we finally got there after this happening again twice. The transmission just – anyways, we get there and I said to the guy, I didn't fill up the gas in this. There was maybe like a half a bar of a tank
left. Okay.
No. That I had to fill up.
I
It was
see.
maybe €5 that had to be filled up. And we didn't because I said I wasn't stopping this car at a gas station and then have it conk out again.
Right.
He started freaking out on us, etc.
Oh, man.
And then we were just like, bye, see you, and got onto the ferry and said, bye, Milos.
Wow.
And then we went, and it was interesting because this ferry was very different from the first one.
Right, so this is a different ferry. Okay.
It was a different ferry. It was like more of a speedboat.
Okay, yep.
And it was like everyone who got on it was very bumpy.
Right.
And everyone who got on it, you could tell people were like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to make it off this just because of how bumpy it was. But we made it, got to Paros, and it was lovely in Paros. We had this beautiful Airbnb and an amazing car rental company this time. And we were able to just enjoy and relax. And then off we were one night in Athens and back home.
I hear Paros is just gorgeous. Everyone I speak to.
It's beautiful. And they have these like beautiful little villages. And really like there's this one village that was close by called Nausa. It has beautiful shops and restaurants and everywhere you go there's something unique to see and just by the sea. And it was just really...
Okay, so walk me through you and your companion in this restaurant in Paros in this small town. What is your experience? What are you having? What are they bringing to you? Is your day like just leisurely? It's going to come as it comes. There's no rush kind of feel versus what you – okay.
No rush.
Tell me.
I mean, in every island we did go to a winery.
Oh, nice.
Which was great. And they were all very different. But the one in Paros was really nice. It was oh my goodness, what was the name of it? I forgot the name of it, but it was beautiful with these beautiful cheese plates that we had, and they took us through like a 8-course tasting course of wines that had been produced there. And then, you know what I love is that you're able to just walk around everywhere in these small villages and just pick and choose, oh, this looks like an interesting restaurant or this looks great. And so everywhere we went, we tended to have, some sort of seafood, whether it's calamari or I loved the grilled octopus.
Of course. I love how much lemon they give you in Greece when you're having seafood. To me, that's because, whenever I'm having oysters or any of this fresh seafood here in North America or wherever, and you're giving me a lot of like horseradishing or kind of like different sauces. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I love horseradish. I love those sauces. But I'm always like, if this can't stand up to just lemon, there's a problem. So give me the lemon first and give me the lemon. And I know that it's abundant in Greece, and lemon and oregano, it's not going to be difficult for you to get. But I just love a fresh plate of fish, and here's your lemon, go to town.
But that's the thing, Marco. Like, you really understand how fresh food just tastes completely different, right? And the food that we have is sort of, been on a truck for days and days, and by the time it gets to you is like many days since it's been actually picked and harvested.
Although, may I just take a little side jaunt here?
Please.
Someone showed up to my house with a jar full of fresh chilies, and I couldn't be happier.
It's true.
Tell us about those chilies. And for anyone listening saying, what's with Marco's voice? I've lost my voice yesterday. I'm getting it back, so forgive me if I sound like I have a frog in my throat. But tell me about these chilies, and we'll go back to Greece in just a second.
I mean, the chili. Okay, so Marco, you may be aware that every year I do this kind of urban garden with my neighbors on Dufferin Street.
On one of the busiest streets in Toronto.
Yeah.
And now there's so much construction happening. Like, it's like fast cars, street cars, construction like you wouldn't believe, lots of dust, and right in front, like right on that major street, Nidhi has the most beautiful little plot growing.
Because we're like, there has to be a way to do some sort of urban farming in this place. And so we essentially use crates, right? So we don't farm in the soil. We farm like through kind of these milk crates and pots and stuff like that. And so this year we had a little bit of a late start.
Okay.
But when we finally planted everything, we didn't realize until a couple of months later when things started to actually bloom how many chili plants actually ended up in that garden. We thought we had bought like maybe 2, but then we had separated everything into separate crates and
As you
things.
should. Yeah, sure.
And so we ended up with buckets of chilies.
I love
buckets of chilies. And so now I have buckets of chilies in my house that I'm like, what do I do with all of this? Because you know me, I love my hot anything chili, but I can't have all of this. So anytime I go to anywhere now, I'm like, here's some chilies for you. Because they're really so we had all these different – we had like some cayenne chilies, some ghost peppers.
Oh, ghost peppers too, eh?
Yeah, but some of the ghost peppers didn't turn necessarily.
Because they need hot weather too, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think construction dust helps them.
Well, probably not. But a couple of them did turn.
Sure,
and they were really and then we had green chilies that some turned into red chilies and some remained green.
Great.
But they are very spicy, and you can taste it. Like, you can taste the difference. And then we had tons of green peppers. The tomatoes didn't do very well this year, but so that's basically my chili supply.
Here's a tip for you. So some of those long chilies that you have, take a needle and thread and go through the part that's not edible, so the stem.
Yeah.
And kind of intertwine them and hang them so they dry in a dry place like your cellar.
Yeah.
So if you have so many, right? Like, you don't necessarily have to needle and thread them, but you want them to hang.
Okay.
So a needle and thread's going to do the trick, right? You hang them, let them dry, and then you have your dried chilies for the rest of the year.
Oh.
There you go. Little side tip.
Life hack.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. I have this little jar of chilies. And I read a study, I shouldn't say a study. I read something that said, when you're growing peppers, if you allow them the space, the sun, and the water that they need, they're going to grow up and they're going to be really delightful chilies. But if you antagonize them by not watering them all the time, keeping them in close quarters, disturbing them, they're going to get really hot and spicy because they'll be angry and temperamental because of how they – I read this. I swear I read this. So I'm curious.
You tell me when you taste them what they're like.
I'm curious to see. Okay, but take me back to Greece. Sorry, Nidhi. I just needed to take that little side trip.
I mean, I think I told you pretty much – that was pretty much the itinerary. Okay. Yeah. A lot of swimming, a lot of beach time.
Here's what I love about
wine.
Greece.
Tell me.
I've always loved their sweets. I love Greek sweets because they go so great with Greek coffee or with espresso coffee. Like, give me baklava, give me loukamitas, give me the half moon that is dusted with the white sugar. I don't know what those ones are called. I am in heaven. And then there's nothing like Greek olives paired with Greek tomatoes, paired with Greek cucumbers and Greek olive oil.
Yep.
For me,
No, it's perfect. And like even the pies and like whether it's the spanakopita or we had watermelon pie.
What?
Yeah. So in Milos, the place we were staying, the breakfast downstairs had this homemade, like it's phyllo pastry.
Yeah.
And it was a watermelon pie, essentially made out of watermelon. So it was like sweet, but then also offset by the kind of flakiness and dryness of the phyllo.
You've just blown my mind.
I know.
I have to have this.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it before. I don't
Was
even
it
know
more
where
like
you could
watermelon tart or was it pie?
No, it was like watermelon pie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Nidhi.
I know.
This is.
I know.
I can't even.
I know.
Wow.
Blew my mind.
Wow.
I know.
And did you get to scuba while you were there?
I did. I scubaed once.
Okay.
When we were in Crete. And I have to say it was a little bit like, it was fun. It was nice to be back in the water.
Sure.
As it always is. However, it was really, like there's no reef in Greece.
To be fair, you've been scuba spoiled.
I have been scuba spoiled.
Okay.
So it's like, it's really hard to go from, Bonaire to anywhere else in the world, I think. So yeah, there weren't that many fish, right? There's not really, a lot to see necessarily, but it was fun. And I snorkeled quite a bit. So
great.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any plans to go back to Bonaire or to any other scuba destinations?
Yes, actually, I'm going in December.
Oh, great time to go.
I know. Back, and I'm going to get my advanced certification.
Ah.
I know.
See, to me, whenever I talk about you, and I talk about you often to friends, I always refer to you like a master diver. I'm like, my friend Nidhi, she dives all over the world. She's getting an octopus for her thing. I take whatever you said on our podcast as if I'm some sort of scuba enthusiast and knowledgeable, and then I just say how you're the expert.
Oh, well, I did finally get a dive computer.
Oh, you got one?
I got one. My little dive watch.
And how is it?
Well, I'll find out in December.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, so you got it.
I got
for your
it.
birthday? Or for...
No, I got it after I got back from Greece.
Okay.
And so I'm excited to try
that's
that
amazing.
out. So I'm starting to, get all the gear and
nice.
stuff like
What's
that.
next on your gear list?
I mean, the easy thing would be to get fins.
Mm-hmm.
But I think so I think it might be fins, BCD, regulator.
Okay.
And then I'd be set.
Why wouldn't regulator come before that? That's what you put in your mouth, right?
Yeah. I mean, only because the regulator is the most expensive part of it.
But isn't it gross to put in foreign, like not foreign, but like the regulator everyone has in their mouth?
I mean, you're in salt water the whole time.
Okay.
So.
Still gross.
Fair enough. I understand.
No, but I guess, once you're there, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I get it. But it's also like, whatever.
So I read something interesting, just to deviate off this, just today, how in Italy they're using bucatini pasta for straws because they found that the paper straws are not holding up the way the public likes it. So they're using this pasta, which is a long pasta that has my least favorite pasta. They're using as straws. And now I feel like it's going to be my favorite pasta for straws.
Yes.
I might buy some for home use.
You should do that.
When, you come over and you're like, can I have a drink? I'll put that in. How would you feel if I put a piece of pasta that you could sip out of?
I would love that.
There you go.
There you go. Also, it's really interesting being in Greece, just to go back there again, especially in a place like Crete.
Yeah.
It was really nice to not be around anyone from North America.
Okay.
Like, it was almost like being North American was there wasn't that many people. But I was surprised at like the contingent of folks from Italy that were there. And so it was almost like, how when you're in a foreign country and everyone's speaking English and you're like, oh gosh, we're taking over and it's not that great.
Right.
But it was really interesting and fascinating to be in a place where it's like all we heard was Italian. I heard Italian more than I heard Greece.
And you speak Italian.
I know. So it was really fascinating because then I was also listening in on these conversations. And there'd be all this family drama happening. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like all these these beach telenovelas were happening right in front of me. And I felt like I was a little intruder on everyone's
Oh, that's so great.
family drama.
A telenovela is a soap opera, if you're not familiar with that term, or like a Spanish-style soap opera, I guess, which tends to be a little bit more melodramatic.
Well, it's funny because the telenovela styles would always happen when people had to get the beach beds for the day.
Oh, that's a thing.
It's a huge thing. I didn't realize it was a huge thing. And so the way it works is, the beach beds that are closest to the ocean or have like an unobstructed view to the ocean are more expensive. And as you go further back in the line, you get less and less expensive. And so we went to this one beach, Falasarnine Creek, and the big beach beds in the front were €50.
Oh, wow.
€50.
That's serious.
So, and then the one right behind it, which is the one that we had, was like €15 for the day or something. Right. So it was like, okay. But this family like came and it was like they wanted 3 beds.
And is that €50 each?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was like, but there's 2 beds per kind of
still okay,
area,
yeah.
I guess. But it was this big family with like grandfather and uncle and blah, blah, blah. And so I guess something that the young, poor Greek person who was working there, and there was some mix-up that had happened. But it turned into like a scene of a scene. It was fascinating to watch because it was like, so it was like everyone was so heightened. And then within, honestly, 90 seconds, everyone went back to like, okay, cool, it's all been sorted out. Let's have our beach day. And it was like just the height of emotion all the way down to relaxation. I was like, this is fascinating to me.
And what are you sipping and doing right while this? You're on your €15 bed.
I'm on my €15 bed, like right behind, just watching this, having ouzo, just ouzo and water. And we're just watching it happen. And it's like, that's all you can do is just kind of watch it all happen. You're like, all right.
Oh, this is great.
Humankind is a fascinating subject.
We had like beach chair drama when we were in the Dominican Republic. We were on a resort.
Okay.
And I didn't know this, but you don't have to book the chairs because you're on a resort, but you have to, like, you don't have to pay for them because it's all included, but you do have to reserve your chair because it doesn't necessarily mean the next morning you're going to get it because people might take it. Right. So what people were doing was getting up early and putting their towel on the bed to reserve it, right? And so Amanda had said to me, Amanda being my wife, said, we need to bring our own towels. Or I'm like, what are you talking about? Won't they have towels there on the resort? She goes, not if we want to reserve one of these chairs, we need our own distinct towel. I'm like, okay, I really don't care, right? And she goes, oh, you will. And sure enough, we get there the first day, and it was like, all the good chairs around the pool, all taken. All the good chairs around where the ocean is, taken. So Amanda's like, all right.
Here we go.
So we had one that was like this bright orange. I think it says Corona on it. And one that has a flamingo sitting on a whale's head or something. You know, one of these towels, right? You get them at Walmart for like $7, like inexpensive. And if they get lost, who cares? And she would get up in the morning, put it on our spot, and we'd have like the best spot. But I'm like, you're getting up at 6 a.m. She goes, listen, I know you're going to thank me. And sure enough, I was like, all right, thank you. This is the best. Now we have, close to the bar, close to the pool.
And then you better not get up from that. You can't give up that prime real estate.
We were with two ladies who got into a scrap with another 2 ladies because of chair placement and someone's towel got removed. And I was like, guys,
and
you're
in my sun. And then, I know. It is a very fascinating type of drama because that's the whole thing. It's like you're on vacation. You're supposed to be relaxing. At the end of the day, you don't get a beach bed. There's an entire sandy beach.
Just throw your towel down.
Just throw your towel down.
So
like everybody else. But it's like, nope.
Oh,
it's very fascinating.
Oh, wow.
I know.
What's important to you when you go on a beach?
My beach chair.
There you go. So that pretty much signals it. Thank you for listening. This is our last episode for this season 3.
Season 3.
But season 4 will come in the new year. Probably, I'm thinking around February, March, you'll hear from season 3. Let us know what episodes you want us to cover, because I do recognize there are some episodes we're working on that if people have requested. One about Halifax. I'll be going to Halifax for Christmas, so I'll be interviewing a Haligonian, which is someone from Halifax, about Halifax. And we'll get that on the air for season 4, so look out for that. And let us know if you have any show topic ideas that you'd like us to hear, because those are always fun to do, right, Nidhi?
They are great to do.
Like, they're the ones we don't think about. And it's
Absolutely.
like, okay, we're going to talk about doors today, Nidhi, because there's a request or whatever it is. We have so much fun doing this, really.
We do.
Yeah. Well,
so great to be back here, Marco, and thank you everyone for your support and for listening, and we really, really appreciate all of our listeners. So enjoy the next couple of months while we are on hiatus, and we hope that you listen and sleep.